Hello everyone and welcome back. Today's album review, the first one in quite some time, is on the new record from Code Orange titled Underneath. This is the fourth studio album from Pennsylvania hardcore, metalcore, and punk band Code Orange. This five-piece band has been putting together pretty solid hardcore punk releases all through the last decade. Their debut and sophomore album, Love Is Love, Return to Dust, and I Am King, were released under Death Wish Records. Many skeptics arose, as well as many fans. They may not have been seen as the most innovative band in their field. Back in 2016, when they released their third album, Forever, it blew a lot of people away who were typically skeptical and critical of their music. This is clearly their best effort, and it seemed like on Forever, this was the Code Orange that we were looking for the whole time. However, my main concern, as well as I imagine other people's, was that they were going to be another hardcore, metalcore type of band that keeps making the same album over and over. Not to say there is not a variation in their three previous albums, it's just that it was becoming a little bit clear, a little bit too obvious what the Code Orange formula was at this time. Now going into this, it's very clear from the singles that we heard, from the talk about the album before it dropped, that we were going to get something different and that they weren't going to paint themselves into a corner. There's a lot of talk about living in the digital age and the impact that that causes on people emotionally. The feelings of anger, loneliness, and isolation are pretty prevalent. I don't know if I'm just having PTSD from that damn Echo Smith record, but I was really hoping that we were going to get more St. Vincent Digital Witness and less of the aforementioned style. I would say that that's what we've got going on here. The themes of isolation and loneliness are really prevalent on tracks like Sulfur Surrounding, and this whole idea of loneliness and isolation goes much further on Who I Am, which makes direct reference to Bjork's stalker situation and the tragedy that came out of that. This is a very dark cut once you realize the references that are being made. And getting into what that song is about is really tying back to these themes that they had already going for them on this album. And this is one of the most cohesive pieces lyrically, I think. Angrier tracks on here tend to revolve around people who, maybe this is on the internet, maybe this is in real life, tend to think that they are right about everything, can do no wrong, can say no wrong. We have the repeated, yet again, motif of thinners of the herd that has been a repeated motif all the way back from the first few albums. For the devoted fans to the older Code Orange sound, these tracks are going to be the most entertaining. They do scratch that same itch. However, the themes of this album are not only lyric deep. This album has a instrumental bass almost at all times. A lot of it is mostly just a bass, and I don't mean a bass guitar, however that is involved. We have the bass guitar, the drumming, and the guitar playing all serving as what mostly is the glue. And that's not to say that any of it is bad. I do really like a lot of the guitar work that comes through on here. There's solos and great performances on Sulfur Surrounding, Cold.Dark.Place, and Autumn and Carbine. All of these tracks have pretty killer guitar work. The actual instruments shine most during the breakdowns on this album. When the tracks get heavier, we see a lot more in the way of instruments going on. However, the electronically produced elements of this record make it feel more in tune with the concept, as well as just adding a innovative yet crazy interesting sound. From the disturbing and jarring samples to the incredibly crushing electronic elements that are featured all through this track list, we certainly have something that lends itself well to a good pair of headphones. Just these sounds that are absolutely immersive, loud, and aggressive. Of course, the elephant in the room is how is this going to go over with the diehards, the purists? That I can't say entirely for sure. The only dips in the track list are just the occasional dud where the song doesn't necessarily feel necessary. While I did like a lot of the instrumental work, Autumn and Carbine kind of felt this way. While Erasure Scan does a lot to add to the themes, I felt like it was a little bit redundant and not necessarily the best take that we had on everything. Some tracks don't do anything to just beat you over the head, and maybe that's good at a runtime that's a little bit longer like this. However, personally, when I come to Code Orange, I just want it to absolutely destroy my ears. And when it doesn't do that, a lot of times the singing on here, a lot of Reba's vocals especially, are very pretty. And those are moments that I really appreciate on here. Sometimes they just kind of fall a little flat. All in all though, these moments are few and far between. I've thrown this on many times since the first time I've heard it. This is one that I'm definitely going to come back to a lot, and I already have. This is definitely Code Orange's most conceptual, well put together project so far. I'd give an 8- out of 10 to Code Orange's latest effort. Let me know what you thought of the album down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts, opinions. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.